Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Jovan Armand about Shazam, Fury of the Gods in theaters. And now, he also had recently dropped a new single we're going to talk about as well. A lot of cool things. Jovan, welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for being here.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
It's crazy, right? Because you act, you do music and everything. Did you always want to do both, or did it kind of just happen?
It kind of happened naturally. You know, I kind of had the actor bug when I was like 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty early. Unfortunately, I didn't get to start when I wanted to, but you know, I started at around 8 years old, and I feel like that was a perfect age because, you know, I was a little more, you know, probably able to walk and stuff, but it was just easier to do as an 8-year-old probably than a 4-year-old, and I don't even remember like being a 4-year-old. But yeah, so that's pretty much when I started, and I'm 22 now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's always been my dream. I used to watch Street Life of Zack and Cody, and that was kind of my inspiration.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the first time I officially saw you was on Nickelodeon for Bella and the Bulldogs. Was that kind of one of your first, like, was that one of your first kind of acting roles, or were you doing a lot before that as well?
I did a lot of you know, building and grinding. I did some short films, indie films,
Yeah.
stuff like that, shorts, and I think my first project was something called La Sorpresa, which was a studio film.
Yep.
I had to like bring the cake over to like my grandpa or something, or my uncle, and I open the door and he comes in and it's his birthday, and like I have the whole plate of cake in my face, and I'm just like, surprise. And I was like a little kid. Yeah, and I like ate the whole cake. That was the concept. And I mean, it was kind of funny, but it was like it was just a studio film. But
You always learn on every project you work on too, which I find
yeah,
interesting too, right?
exactly. Yeah, that's something that you know, I also learned when I did the um internet series, I think is what they're called. But
Yeah, the web
yeah, so
series,
I was on
absolutely. Yeah.
web series. There you go. I was on a web series called Los Americans, and I got to meet Lupe Ontiveros, Raymond Cruz, and they were very helpful in the ripe like age of my career, where I was like very very young, and they helped me with you know, give me inspiration. And Lupe Ontiveros actually told me that, you know, Jovan, in this business, you never stop learning. The day you do is the day you should quit. You know, so
Yeah.
that's something that, you know, stuck with me ever since. And yeah.
You seem to be like me. We're like creatives. Like we can't turn it off. Like we're always thinking of things. We just kind of want to keep going, right? Like I feel like that's the grind, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I mean it comes so naturally with music. I mean, I picked that up when I was about 16 years old.
Mhm.
Didn't really start to like get into it or into my like artisticness until like I was like 17, because I had to kind of develop myself, you know, develop my lyricism, my cadences and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and just kind of also be confident in it, because that's another thing. You got to be confident in your writing, and that takes time, you know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so you look. It's pretty exciting because Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I mean, you were in the first one. I mean, what was like? I just want to know, what was that like, getting that call that you're officially coming back? Because I feel like the emotions are just nonstop for that. You know what I mean? Maybe there's kind of speculation, I like rumors that it's coming, but when you officially kind of find out, what is that like for you and your family and your team?
I mean, it's just so much like excitement. I was, well, obviously Bella Bulldogs was my first big break, and then from there I went on to do the middle. I was also on Snowfall, Coyote, Hawaii Five O, a bunch of other shows, and I was just kind of in a position where I was like, man, I've auditioned for so many big things. I'm waiting for something to hit. You know, at that point I had auditioned for like three or so, two or three Marvel either TV shows or like movies, and then um some like one or two DC things, but it was like you know, all like encrypted and all that. But I just, at a point, I feel like I need like a big break. I need something. And thankfully in like 2017, I got that. I was at Costco and got the phone call from my team. It was like my mom's checking out, and she hands me the phone. She's like, "Your entire team is on the line." And I'm like, okay, bye. And they're like, Shazam! And I was like, oh wow, that's crazy.
And then
Um,
yeah, it's so crazy. And then like for this new one, I mean, it's the Shazam: Fear of the Gods. I mean, this it's every time you make a new movie of like the sequel, it's always
yeah,
kind of bigger naturally and everything. Did it
yeah.
feel bigger and the stakes were higher once like you started filming the second one?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, once they brought out Stunts Unlimited and all these stunts people that have done like the end games of the world and like Jurassic Parks or whatever, like just crazy stunts, and these guys have been at it for years and they're pros. It kind of, there's levels to it. When I found out about the second one, well, actually, I found out we were gonna do a second one on the carpet at the first one,
Yeah.
and then from there, obviously pandemic happened, so that delayed us a bit, and then we didn't actually get to start till like 2021.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, just Stunts Unlimited being there, and then obviously seeing the sets and everything, it was just so cool and surreal, and a real like magical experience, just simply because you're very like you dive into the world when they build it, because it's a lot easier than having to visualize everything over a blue screen.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, because I talked to Ian Chen who plays Eugene, and he
Yeah,
said the craziest thing was like these tennis balls being kind of thrown at you, and you have to pretend
yeah,
like it's like these like monsters and everything. I feel
yeah.
like
Well, not just tennis balls. The first time around, it was just tennis balls. This time around, they incorporated a spatula, and that was that was supposed to be our dragon eye line. They taped a spatula to like a stick and just extended it really long and was like dragon and just like waving it around and stuff. And I'm
do
just
you,
like, oh.
well, it's funny because you know that there's going to be a lot of special effects. Like you're kind of waiting, you go in, the special effects days, right? Because the schedules and everything. But then I'm sure you get in there and like it's not even you can't even you can't even prepare yourself for what it is. Like you kind of have an idea but like, is it a crazy feeling then to kind of see what it is when you're filming it and then see it like play back? And you're like that. Like that did not feel or look anything like what we see in the theaters.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. I mean, you never really know what to expect with these kind of movies, like afterwards, and what the special effects turn out to be and
Mhm.
stuff. And on set they do provide a lot of inspiration to help. They have a guy that's literally trying to take what you just shot and turn it into like the CGI rendering of what it could be or what it is going to be,
Yep.
even though it's a little more like a 3D kind of thing, not necessarily so realistic. And sometimes it looks a little like goofy, but they just they do that so that you can at least visualize and see what it's going to be, what you're approaching or what's approaching you,
Yep.
and stuff like that. And that definitely helps. They have a big a wall kind of like like just with a bunch of scenes and images, sketches, whatever, just to kind of help you to take in what is around you, the atmosphere and stuff like that. And
Yep.
and David Sandberg helped tremendously
Mhm.
with helping us like get enamored or get involved and immersed
Yeah.
into the world.
100%. Obviously, you're focusing on acting, you're focusing on making some music. It's interesting. You work on a project like Shazam and Shazam: Fear of the Gods, and just like kind of what we talked about in the beginning. I mean, everything's bigger. The stakes are so high. Comic book culture, like geek culture, DC universe, everything's big. There's nothing not big about it, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like it's like the perfect popcorn worthy kind of movie theater movie and everything. Obviously you're focusing on acting, but do you work on a movie like that and see all the crew and see the directors and everyone behind it? Does it kind of make you interested in maybe going behind the camera a lot more as well, or is acting something you're focusing on mostly?
I've always had like a love for writing and directing.
Yep.
Eventually, I do want to dive into that, but I feel like that would probably come a little later in my life.
Yep.
But for now, it's just acting and rapping and just kind of expression and stuff, and that kind of helps me my day to day and stuff. It's just like an outlet, you know.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
directing, it's so like it's a lot, you know. There's a lot on your shoulders and stuff. Same with writing.
Mhm.
You got to turn in scripts and deadlines and all that. So it's just like I want to prepare myself and take the proper steps to kind of get to that level. But I have drafted up some like kind of summaries of a series or like
Mhm.
a short or a feature, stuff like that, just to kind of warm up to it and get into it. But I've definitely thought about being a writer or a director one day.
Yeah. Getting back to your music, I feel like it's very interesting because I'm a person that always loved so many different genres of music. I never limited myself in terms of the genres. Like I'm all over the map, Jovan. Like it's pretty crazy. I'm just as an artist and as a rapper, I'm just curious because like maybe your music has kind of specific kind of genres that you like to call it or anything, but I'm just curious,
Yeah.
like as an artist, like what do you think about all the genre bending happening right now? Because a lot of artists are throwing the genre away and just kind of making music and throwing stuff at the wall and kind of seeing what sticks and not really putting it in a box. So I'm just curious what you think about that. Like I find that's an interesting part of the music industry right now.
Some of it is tasteful and I feel like it works, but there's obviously some things where it's like, that should have stayed in the vault, But
Yeah.
um, I love music as a whole. There's so many different genres, of course, and they're each special in their own way, and they each have their own vibe, their own time you're gonna listen to them. You know what I mean? When I'm on the way to the club, I don't necessarily listen to R&B or or jazz. You know what I mean? I listen to hip hop, pop, and that kind of amps me up and stuff. And that's kind of why I like it because it just gives this energy of like ready to go.
Yeah.
That's something I like to create. I like to create emotion. I like to create a feeling, and that's something that you can do a lot with music and acting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, absolutely. Shazam Fear of the Gods is in theaters now, so people can check it out. And I saw a lot of people like that have seen it kind of more than once. Like they went back to see it, which is pretty awesome. I mean, when you get a chance to watch this film, I'm just curious, besides obviously the main kind of thing of being entertained, because that's what the movies are for, what else do you
yeah.
hope people get out of watching Shazam Fear of the Gods when they get to see it, man? Specifically, takeaway wise.
Yeah, I hope that they see the representation that it provides, the awareness it brings to certain mature topics, because there's so much and it balances it so well with how many topics there are, There's a topics of the foster care system, the individual kids, growing up and coming into their own and experiencing things or and stuff like that. So it's a positive message at the end of the day. It's about love, it's about family, it's about chosen family, and it's also a beautiful step in the right direction of you know representation. So yeah.
100%. It's and the cast had to battle tennis balls, right?
Yeah, we bet on tennis balls especially. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is so much fun. Jovan, thank you so much for your time. It was really great chatting with you, man.
Likewise, I appreciate it.
Yeah, could you plug away with your new single specifically where people could check it out and a little bit about it quickly?
Oh yeah. So you guys can check out my new song Heavy featuring the game. It's out now. It's on all platforms. Make sure to go to my socials to find it. Jovan Armand official on Instagram. Everything else is just Jovan Armand.
And go see Shazam Fear of the Gods in theaters, right?
Go watch Zap Fury of the Gods. I don't care if
Absolutely.
it's $5 Tuesday. Just watch it. All right.
Absolutely. This has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. Previous episodes. Until next time, this is Jovan Armand and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.